What is up, everybody? On this Friday morning, afternoon, depending on where you're at, I guess. Me talking about your side hustle while you're working full time and why you haven't done it, or if you're in the process of doing it, what can you do to get that side hustle going while you're working full time? I'm all about trying to supplement income, make some money while you're working full time. You might hate your job, you might love your job. Like I love my job, but I want to make money on the side, and I want to grow a side hustle and potentially turn it into a business. And so, what can you do to ensure that you're growing with your side hustle so that you can make enough money to eventually quit? And this is a path that I'm still working on. So if you're watching, know that, I'm in this position of my side hustle while working full time. I haven't, officially quit my job. I'm not one of those stories yet. But I want to encourage you guys, if you're not starting a side hustle and you want to make extra money outside of your job, if you want to do something different, or maybe it's one of those things where whatever job you're in, you want to do on your own. You want to be your own boss. And so I've always been in an industry setting, either making something, and right now I oversee production on a industry level for the state of Texas. And so I like seeing something from a raw material being cut up or whatever and made into something. That's for me. For you, it might be engineering, it might be construction, it might be, you name it, IT service, something where, maybe you work at Best Buy and, you're doing IT for them, fixing computers, but your real passion is to do it yourself. And I worked at Best Buy, so I can talk bad about them, right? So maybe you're in a position where you have enough time, and if you don't have enough time, really evaluate yourself, because I've put out there, I know not everybody works 40 hours. I get it. A lot of people work way more than that, especially with the way everything's going on right now. But I want you to know that if you really look at the time that you have, if you really look at the time that you're wasting, whether you're sleeping 10 hours a day, maybe cut that a little bit. Try to set an alarm where you're only sleeping, 6 to 8 hours a day. You still need enough sleep. I always believe in that, and I wish I got anywhere close to 6 hours of sleep. But really evaluate what you're doing on the weekends. I'm lucky enough to have Friday, Saturday, and Sundays off, and I know not everybody is that fortunate, but I also know that there's a lot of people that have way more time than I do, and yet they still haven't started that side hustle. They still haven't started that hobby, and they still complain about their job. So really look at, one, when do you get off of work? Do you have enough time? Are you going home? Are you sitting on the couch? Are you turning on YouTube, TikTok? Are you watching TV? What are the things in your life that you can cut out and invest that time in yourself now, so that in the future it pays off? Because you're investing your time, I would hope, to eventually quit your job if that's what you want, or maybe it's just to make some extra money. But if you figure, even if working 10-hour days, I promise there's still a few hours in the day. You don't have to turn your side hustle, and I actually speak against this. Maybe people do it, but starting out, you shouldn't turn your side hustle or your hobby into a full-time job. So if you're turning that into a full-time job, I would almost guarantee you're going to have some sort of burnout pretty quick. And the reason I say that is because I've done that, especially when I was starting out doing woodworking. I treated that almost like a second job. I was always making something. I was making orders, and I got burnout. And when you create burnout, you will stop. And then people are like, well, where do you go? And so that's happened to me a couple times. And I think when I transitioned from the woodworking to the leather work, I'm more at a steady pace. I set aside so much time each day to do videos, so much time to do projects, and it's a steady growth instead of, shooting to the moon and you're up there and you're making good money and you think, yeah, I could quit my job, and then all of a sudden you're just sick and tired of what you're doing, and then you drop off the face of the earth, or you only do a little bit here and there once a month. You need to be consistent if you're looking to start a side hustle, or if you're in the middle of a side hustle while working a full-time job. Because the truth of it is, unless you're in a position to quit that day, you might need to focus as much energy with a job that actually pays the bills and keep that going, maintain that relationship while you're working on it. You don't want to burn bridges, I guess I'd say. You definitely want to keep that going so you can support your side hustle. The other side of the setting aside time, like I said, people will say they don't have time, but I promise you, people are probably sitting on the couch, the majority of the time when they're getting off. But the other thing is the money side of it. And I get it. It takes money to start a side hustle. You don't have to get everything all at once, and I'm speaking for like woodworking and leather craft. You don't have to have all the money up front to start a side hustle. You can start out small and reinvest that money into your side hustle to get, more equipment, whatever it is. But if you're thinking about, well, I don't have the money, here's some things, guys. If your employer offers overtime, you can pick up a little bit of money there. If you're doing, if you're going to Starbucks, every day, spending $5 a day. I mean, come on, guys. I know people do it. $150 in a month for coffee, where you could pick up a, $20 coffee pot and make your own coffee instead of going to Starbucks. So know that there's ways to get money, even when you don't think. There's a lot that we can cut out. Eating out, all these subscriptions that we get that cost money that we don't use. Whether it's a gym membership, whether it's a streaming service, there's ways to set some money aside. And if you're looking at the leather craft, I have videos out there where you can start leathercraft for under $100 or right at $100. And when you're looking at tools and stuff, don't be looking at the most expensive tools, because when you start reinvesting and you're looking at higher quality tools, these things are going to cost $100 right off the bat. And I get it, but I don't want you to jump into that unless you know for a fact that, one, you have the funds to do it, and the other is that you're going to keep doing it. Because what's the point of investing in all these tools, like this, and I have some other ones, if you're not going to pursue it? You might want to start this as a hobby, but I have videos out there where I talk about, go to Amazon and look at the $30 kits. They're not going to be the best. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. They're not going to be the highest quality like these, which, I would sure hope not, because you want to get higher quality tools, but that's not going to be it. But where I'm getting at is that the $30, $40 sets on Amazon for leathercraft are going to allow you to get into the craft. They're going to allow you to know what you need to either make the wallet. I'm more for like, small goods, wallets, keychains, maybe some small clutch purses, stuff like that. You might want to do handbags. You might want to do tooling leather, but invest in the leather at the very beginning. So get your $50 or $30 whatever kit off of Amazon, leather kit, and you're gonna get inexpensive, not like these, but inexpensive stitching or pricking irons. You might get a wood slicker that'll look like this, and with time will look like this, because you're working your butt off and you're learning. It's going to take time. You might get a little bit of thread or something like that, but it's going to be enough to get you going for, like I said, $30 to $50, depending on which kit they have. Like I said, they have the kits for just stitching, which is basically what I do, is just the stitching. And then you have some that are tooling. So you might have some tooling tools, stamps and stuff like that. But start there. And then if you're getting that $30 to $40 kit, now you have about $60, $70 to go towards your leather. And that's where I want you to dump the rest of the money into a side of good leather. Whether you get a half a side or a full side, you can do so much more with a high quality leather than to invest in more expensive tools and get inexpensive or low quality leather that's either going to split, fray. I mean, guys, I thought for the longest time, if I walked into a department store and saw genuine leather, that I thought that's really good leather. That's great. But the fact of the matter is, it's not the best. It's not good. Get your top grain leather and practice with that. You're going to understand what it's like to work with that type of leather, even though you have inexpensive tools. But once you start selling that stuff, or people start noticing, and you can reinvest that money into your tools, and that's where you've got to reinvest in yourself. You got to reinvest in your tools, because that's what's going to make or break you, outside of just practicing and building up the skill. Because quality tools, just like anything, I promise are going to last longer than the cheaper ones. Nothing against, like Harbor Freight. I've got plenty of Harbor Freight tools. But you can tell that some of them are good and some aren't. Even though Harbor Freight's kind of getting big for their britches, I think. Freaking expensive. What's a cool leather for making pants? I wish I could answer that. I really don't know. So I haven't ever done anything with clothing. But I know like Tandy Leather sells that type of leather just for handbags and clothing and stuff like that. I wish I could answer your question on that. I deal with more like the thicker leather for wallets, like a 3 to 4 ounce, and then you start getting into a little bit thicker for maybe handbags and belts. I haven't really got into belts. I might do a belt here and there, but there's so many talented people out there that do tooling on belts. And that's another thing that I'm working on, is the confidence to sell a product. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, plain belt might not be worth it, but I know I just got to work past that, just like anything else. But yeah, for any type of clothing, okay, so buckskin. Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah, I really don't know too much about that, but I can tell you, if you're getting into the small goods side of it, yeah, like I said, wallets, you want to start with like a 3.5 to 4 ounce leather. and you can go with a chrome tan or a veg tan. So your veg tan is like just your natural leather. It doesn't have any dyes in it. It's naturally tanned. Your chrome tans are typically cheaper. Your chrome tans, I really like chrome tans. You can get about any color you can think of with the chrome tan, if that tannery is, of course, dyeing it in that color. Or you can also dye your own leather. So you can get the veg tan, the natural leather, and you can buy, this is just an EcoFlow leather dye, and you can dye your own leather. And I mean, you can get blues, purple, pink, yellow, black, and then of course all your natural colors, mahogany or your browns, your blacks, stuff like that. But you could dye your own leather, which can sometimes save some money. But I've noticed that, like, when I started, I was dyeing the leather and thought, okay, well, this is going to be cheaper. I'll just get the veg tan and I'll dye it whatever color they want for a wallet. And then I realized that's probably not the most efficient way to do it, because the time that it takes. And if we're not factoring our time into what we're doing, it's one thing to do it as a hobby and take up 2 hours for a project that if someone was selling it, that they probably should take only 45 minutes to an hour to do. As a hobby, that's fine. You're doing it for the fun of it. And even though the side hustle and going into business, I'm looking at it because I really enjoy this, I still have to look at it, even though it's still just a side hustle, going into the business stage, I have to look at that time that I'm investing in a project. So if I'm making this wallet and it takes me 3 hours to make this, then it's no longer worth it, because no one's going to, well, I won't say no one, but I don't feel comfortable selling this for $400 because it took me 3 to 4 hours to make. Stuff like this, should take, 30 minutes or less to make. And then you sell it for whatever, $50, $60. And same way with, just regular wallets. You've got to price it by the time that or based off the time that you're taking to make it. So you got to factor in your time, your material. I mean, all those get factored in if that's what you're trying to do. Now, as a side hobby, a hobby, I guess you can take as much time as you want. But yeah, guys, if y'all have any questions, trying to turn your side hustle, or maybe, you don't know what you're trying to get into as far as just trying to do what you enjoy. And that's the majority of us is, we're in a position in our job where it might not be a bad job. It's just the fact that we want to do something more. And for me, like I said, I enjoy my job. I like it. I like the people I work with, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, what if you could wake up every day and walk out your front door, whether it's in your garage, in your shop, or a storefront, and it's yours. And that's what I'm passionate about. I want a craft. I want something where I can design. And really, leather work, I enjoy the leather work, I really do. But I also enjoy woodworking. I enjoy metal work. I haven't really done much metal work, but I like designing. I like designing something and creating something from basically nothing. Just a flat piece of leather, and you have to either cut it out or program the laser, to do it. But that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the designing part of it, and then seeing it come together. That's probably more satisfying for me than anything, is to see it come together and know that, not that I'm selling something to someone that needs a wallet, but selling a wallet to someone that, could take this, and if they take care of it, then they could potentially pass it on to their kids, their grandkids. It could last, generations, if taken, care of. But guys, I just encourage you to take the time, cut out the Starbucks, if you can, take out the eating out. And I do that, there's nothing against, treating yourself, but, if you're trying to find money to start your side hustle, look at that. Look at where you can cut, some things out to save some money to put towards your side hustle, to really invest in yourself. And then look at your time. Look at where you're wasting time. Are you wasting time, out at the, going with friends on the weekend, which is fun, but are you doing it every weekend? Are we coming home after work and are we sitting down and turning on the TV, or are we coming home and taking a nap? And I've done all those things, so I'm not here to judge because I've done it. But I realized that I want this more than sitting on the couch and watching TV. And right now I'm investing into this side hustle, and I'm finding like-minded creators. I'm spending more time with like-minded friends that we can collab or bounce ideas off. So when I do go out, I have a good friend that we go out and play frisbee golf, and I talk to. I've known him, pretty much my whole life, and so now we're both content creators. He's really pushing it full time right now, but I'm still working while doing this. So just know that there's a way to do it while working full time. You can always find the time. You can always find the money. Just find the resources around you. Keep pushing, and I promise you can build something out of nothing. Just like TikTok. You're trying to grow your following. Everybody starts out as zero. So know that you can do it. Keep pushing. And guys, if y'all enjoy stuff like this type of content, I'm trying to do more lives where I just talk about not necessarily how to make leather stuff, but if I get more comments on how to actually make stuff, maybe we could do like a live workshop where I show how to do stuff like that. But right now, I just want to visit with you guys. I want to encourage y'all. I want to answer any questions y'all have about starting a hobby, a side hustle, and then I want to grow with you guys so that as I'm growing, and hopefully you're growing too, we can get to that point all together where maybe one day this actually turns into a business, and we're like, hey, I start seeing comments, hopefully, myself, I'm like, I quit my job today. Is this scary? But I quit my job and now I'm doing the side hustle thing, or, turning that side hustle into a business. And I hope to see more of y'all doing the same. So guys, I'm going to jump off. I hope y'all have a great day, a good weekend, and we'll see y'all hopefully in the next live. Take it easy, guys.